Hello, it's Erica here from Me Too Paper Crafts. I have a fun fold for you today. I don't know if it has an official name, but I'm kind of calling it a window accordion card because it has the window feature and it has an accordion fold on the inside. So that's what I'm calling it. And I really enjoyed making this card, and it looks complicated, but it is very, very simple. So let me let you know what I'm using for this. First of all, I decided to pull out this beautiful Fancy Phrases stamp set. I just love this, I don't know, kind of an antiqued rose floral design, and it has another little piece here that you can use for your envelopes and inside your card. Today I'm using this actually as the focal point. And it's got some nice greetings on here. I love this birthday wishes, and I am using the may your day be filled with heartfelt happiness on the inside of my card. So I've already got the stamps I need mounted on my acrylic blocks here. And then I'm also using, I just love these framelits. They're called the Stitched So Sweetly dies. And this is what they look like. There's a series of rectangles with this beautiful stitching and scalloped edges. You kind of get 2 for 1 in this die set. And then there's some lovely stitch dies for different kinds of greetings that you can make. So yeah, here they are. So the 2 dies that I'm using, it's actually the, not the largest, but the one in and the second one in from the largest. If you wanted to count 1, 2, 3, 4, then it would be 2 and 3 that you're using for this. One of the dies, of course, is for the, to cut out the window from the front of the card, and the other one is to cut out for the main feature piece on the front. So I've got birthday wishes on the front, and I've got may your day be filled with heartfelt happiness. Okay, now I'm also using, to get this leaf pattern around here, I'm also using the Forever Fern stamp set, and it has this lovely little splatter paint texture on here that I'm using. And I'm using one of these leaves here to stamp around the outside. Okay, so you want to start with a regular card base. This is 8.5 by 5.5, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to score this in half at 4 1/4. At 4 1/4. Okay, that's our center fold. So I'm going to fold this again on the mountain side. Well, let's get my light going here. So I don't know if you can see the mountain part. So when you create the dent on the inside, you create a mountain. So I call this the valley and this the mountain. And you always fold over on the mountain side. And we'll give that a burnish. When you burnish the fold, it helps the card to lie more flat than sticking up. Okay? You could even do it on both sides. Okay, now the next piece that you have here, this measures 8 by 4 1/4. I'm just checking my notes here. No, sorry, I'm wrong. 5 1/4, 5 1/4 by 8. Okay, and you're going to do 2 score lines on here. You're going to do one at 2 and at 4. So let's go to 2 inches here, 2 inches, and at 4 right here. And this creates the accordion fold. Okay. Now this becomes the inside panel of your card like this. So we're going to fold over on that mountain there. And we'll give that a burnish, and then you're going to fold back on that second score line. So you're going to fold back, and we're going to give that a burnish. Okay, so that becomes the inside of your card like that. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to cut my window out. And so I found the center on my frame, and so the center of my card I'm going to try and line that up for the center on my grid sheet here, and then I'm going to line this up in the center, and I will grab a little post-it note flag. I love these little post-it note flags. If you've not seen these before, you can purchase them. They come like this, post-it note, and they pull out. And I love these because you can reuse them over and over again, and they're very easy to pull up because this part isn't sticky. So that's why I love these. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my big shot and cut the window out, and then I will be right back. Okay, so I've cut my window out. So this is going to become the background layer for your center greeting here. Now I already, ahead of time, I cut out this piece of Whisper White out of the other frame, okay? And so we're going to do our design and give it some color, and then we're actually going to mount this with dimensionals on here. Okay, so let's do that now. I'm going to stamp it and let it dry a bit. Now, Memento ink does dry fairly fast, but when I use my blends, if it's not really, really dry, then the blends can leak a little bit. So I'm going to give it time to dry. So we'll put this towards the bottom. Actually, let me do the greeting first, the happy birthday, just to make sure I leave enough room. I want this to be right at the top. Like that. Okay. And then I want this one. Let's just re-ink it again. And I'm going to just put it on a little bit of an angle here, like that. And I'm going to set that aside and let that make sure that's really, really dry before I use my blends. And set those two aside. Okay. All right, so now what we want to do is we're going to stamp around the edges of this. Now another idea that you could do is you could take a layer of designer series paper and stick this on the front of the card first and then cut out the window so that you have designer series paper as a frame around the window. So that's another thing that you could do. I'm going to pull in a piece of scrap paper here because I'm going to do some stamping. So I like tone on tone. This is this color is shaded spruce, and so I use the shaded spruce ink to do those leaves around there. And so this is Pear Pizzazz, so I'm going to pull out Pear Pizzazz ink, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab my leaf, and you want to rotate the leaf. You can either rotate the leaf in your hand or you can rotate your card just to get it to stamp all over, and you definitely want to go over your edges as well. And stamp them in different directions. You want to kind of go over the window too. So it's as if this was already pre-patterned and then you cut out the window. You want it to look a little bit different. So this takes a little bit of time to do your own stamping, but I think it's pretty effective. Now I don't want to go onto the back of my card, so I'm going to fold my card here. But don't go over the window. Well, you could go over the window here because this is going to be covered up on the inside. So don't worry about that. You want to just go right over it. That's going to get covered up. And I might just fill in some of my little white space, or green spaces, I should say, down at the bottom here. Like so. Maybe just one more right here. Okay, so yeah, don't worry about the inside because that's going to get completely covered over. All right, we're done with the leaf now. So I like to put my ink pads away. Okay, so now what you can do, we can go ahead and, first of all, before I stick this inside the card, I want to do my inside greeting, just in case I make a mistake and I have to flip the cardstock over. I'm just going to put my inside greeting in here. So I'm just trying to line things up as best I can. And this is my inside greeting, and I'll use the black again. And try and center that. Apologize if my head gets in the way. Okay, now I have this, I pointed this out earlier, it's kind of a little bit of a, I don't know, an ink splatter. And I'm going to do this in the green, but I'm going to ink it, I'm going to stamp it off first so it's not full strength. So I'm going to ink it up and then stamp it off, and I'm going to go over the greeting as well. Like that. Okay. All right, so that part is done. So now I can glue, you're just putting glue on the back here. Let's pull out my Stampin' seal. And now you're going to put this on the inside. Make sure you orient it the right way. You want it to go like this so that this opens to the right. There we go. Give that a good press. Okay. So that's what your card looks like now. Now we're going to color this. And I used blends on this card, but maybe I will use some watercolor pencils for a change. Let's just pull these down off my shelf. I've got both sets in here in a thinner stamp case, and they work. You could put them in a larger stamp case if you want. So I think I'm going to do a bit of a darker green on the leaves. This is garden green. And then what color flowers shall we do? How about some red flowers? Or what is this color? Is this rich raspberry? Cherry cobbler. Oh, that's, yeah, cherry cobbler. We could do cherry cobbler with the green. Looks good. There's also a real red. And there's rich raspberry too. Is that rich raspberry? Yeah, rich raspberry. Oh dear. Okay, I think I'm going to do the cherry cobbler. Decisions. Oh, of course, I could also do. No, I'll do. Okay, I've made my decision. All right, so we're just going to color over the leaves. Every now and then I like to look up at my camera to make sure it's still recording. One day it just completely stopped. I don't know why. I am using a camcorder for my videos. I prefer a since I have the camcorder, I might as well use it. I know a lot of people do videos on their phone. I do my Facebook Lives using my phone, but okay, and then with colored pencils you can just go a little bit darker, just, you know, increase your pressure just to put in a bit of texture if you want, like that. Maybe on one half of the leaf. Okay. Now I assume that these little round things here are more buds of flowers coming up, so I will do those in red as well. It's on the same stem, so it's not like it's another plant in there. And it's hard to see on the camera, but if you look at this image, there are some spots where I think, you know how a bud comes up and there's a bit of green still on it? So I'm just going to add a bit of green. On there. Okay, and then the centers of the flowers, I guess we'll pull in, I'm just going to pull in my blend, a yellow blend, and just dab it in the middle. There we go. Okay, I think that's all the coloring that we need. All right, now the next step is, remember now when you cut out your dies, there is a wrong and a right to the dies. You see on the reverse side you can hardly see the stitching, so make sure that you've got the right side pointing up. And what you want to do is you want to close your card like this, and then what you're going to do, what I thought was the easiest to do, is I'm going to put a bit of glue right here on this half. So I'm just going to use my Tombow glue, and I'm going to just cover that up a little bit. Now I'm going to put this back into place. Okay, so take your time doing this just to make sure it's exactly in the right spot. Otherwise your card won't open very well. As a matter of fact, you can flip this open just to make sure it's in there, and then give it a press and a hold while that glue dries. Okay, there you go. So you see, there's your mechanism. And I want to pull in, before I glue this down, I want to, and we're going to use dimensionals on here, but I want to pull in a bit more of these ink splatters in green on this main part of the card. So I'm going to stamp off to make the ink a little bit lighter. There we go. Just adds a little something. Okay, so now we're ready to finalize our card. So I'm putting dimensionals in all four corners and in the center. There we go. Okay, and then close your card and then get this in the center. There you go. There's your card. And then you open it and pull it out. So if you wanted, you know, you could add a few more stamped images in here, maybe something in the corners. I don't know. I think it looks fine the way it is. So there you go. There's your 2 cards. And that was pretty simple to put together. So I might do another one and put some DSP in here and see how that works out. You could even have this whole piece be DSP and then put another piece of white on top with your greeting. You can do all kinds of variations with that. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. You can check out my Fun Fold video playlist over on my channel, and there will be a link in the description below for the blog post, which will have all of the measurements and the stamp sets and colors that I used. So thanks again for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.